And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service on this Saturday, December 16th, 2023. If you'd like additional weather information on top of what I provide in this YouTube video, you can go to weather.gov. That is the National Weather Service's online presence. It'll bring you a map to the continental U.S. with Hawaii and Alaska to the lower left. You point and click anywhere on this map and it'll pull up a local forecast for that location along with any relevant watches, warnings, or advisories. Looking at the weather map this Saturday afternoon, we have a lot of action that take place here for the latter half of this weekend along the East Coast. Strong area of low pressure developing in the lower Gulf of Mexico will track northeastward along the eastern seaboard, and this system is going to produce heavy rainfall. There are flood watches now from eastern Virginia all the way on up into New England. Many areas picking up 1.5 to 3 inches, locally higher rainfall amounts, strong winds. Look at the purple here indicates all of the storm warnings out over the ocean. And there's even the potential for tornadoes, a few tornadoes here across Florida as we go through the night, as that cold front will be sweeping across that location. We still have poor air quality and dense fog advisories in areas of the Pacific Northwest. So here in Alaska, another round of snow is heading for Anchorage this evening and in the short overnight period. A season snowfall as of yesterday's snowfall was 66.3 inches of snow, the bulk of that coming November and through the first half of December. A typical winter based on 30 years of data. We average 77 inches of snow in the Anchorage area. So we very well could approach that before the new year or shortly thereafter. More snow and wind also occurring along areas of the west coast and also further southeast of Anchorage in through the Chugach Mountains and especially around places like Turnagain Arm Pass and on up in the west and north sides of Prince William Sound for tonight. Now, we are talking about a pretty strong X-class solar flare, along with some other flares that are going to be arriving over the course of this weekend. And right now, it still looks like the potential for a G2 class geomagnetic storm developing at some point tonight into Sunday, and that could produce some active aurora. So if skies are clear at your location, you may have the opportunity then to view the northern lights. Many areas, though, are going to be socked in with the cloud cover. And overall, this active weather pattern will continue across the southern mainland, Alaska Peninsula, Gulf Coast, and Panhandle, right up through Christmas. And looking at a few of the images here from the FAA webcams this afternoon, Dillingham had a front come on through earlier this morning with wind and some snow, but a brief period of clearing. 34 degrees this afternoon, gusty southeast to south winds becoming southwesterly. St. Mary's in the southwest interior there, lower Yukon Valley, has reported some light snow and fog, 14 degrees for this Saturday early afternoon, and low pressure will be moving right overhead here later tonight and Sunday morning before that low moves out over Norton Sound and then pulls back toward St. Lawrence Island. Along the eastern Kenai coast, there have been a few sprinkles, some low overcast, 35 degrees at Whittier. The mountains, though, of the eastern Chugach in from the coastline, including areas like Turnagain Pass and on up the west and east or north side of Prince William Sound, will get a pretty good dump of snow here tonight, early Sunday morning, maybe 6 to as much as 12 inches in some of the higher elevations. Anchorage area is going to see a burst of snow tonight. Temperature as of early afternoon, 18 degrees. Expect snow to pick up rather rapidly. It's going to be a short burst. Heaviest snow falling within a few hour period, easy 3, maybe 4 inches. Some areas could see as much as 5 or 6, but 2 to 4 a good bet, with maybe as much as 5 or 6 in some areas. So driving around later this Saturday evening and overnight, we'll be on some slippery roads. So look at the advisories, warnings, what have you. Special weather statement still for the front that has already passed now here through the Bristol Bay area, improving conditions. Still winter weather advisories around Kuskokwim Bay up through Bethel, Anvik back toward the lower Yukon Delta. This area here will continue to see mainly periods of light snow and some blowing snow as the low pressure tracks northward tonight. The low will then pull back across Norton Sound and just east of St. Lawrence Island Sunday night into early Monday. Because of that, there are winter weather advisories for the northern and west side of the Seward Peninsula, including Shishmaref, Teller, and Wales down through St. Lawrence Island. Further inland, gusty winds expected along the central eastern half of the Alaska range. Through some of the gaps and ridge lines, there could be wind gusts 45 to near 60 miles an hour tonight into Sunday. Another area of strong winds, northeast winds gusting as high as 45 to 55 miles an hour from, say, Point Hope up to Point Lay, and considerable amount of blowing, drifting snow possible in those locations. So on Thursday morning, there was an X-class solar flare, the first one of this particular solar max cycle, biggest one observed since September of 2017. Part of that was Earth-directed, not the main force of it, but part of it. And there's some other flares that are heading our way combining. They're expected to impact sometime tonight into Sunday, so that could trigger a G2 geomagnetic storm with some active aurora possible. Again, if skies are clear in your location tonight or early Sunday morning, definitely take a look. First quarter moon occurs Tuesday, December 19th, so the sky should be relatively dark here, especially late tonight into the morning hours because the moon will have set. Looking at the satellite imagery, we have this feed of moisture, secondary low right now in this location, going to ride quickly northeastward. That's what's going to provide the burst of snow across the Anchorage Bowl, Kenai Peninsula here this evening and in through the early overnight. There's another low here pushing up into the southwest. You can see the curl in the clouds there. Those are the two main weather features, and they're showing up on the weather map this Saturday afternoon. There's the main low that came up into Kuskokwim Bay. Here is the secondary low taking shape just along Kodiak Island, and that'll quickly lift off toward the north-northeast as we go through tonight, providing some additional snowfall. Coastal areas, though, here, Homer on up towards Seward, even Whittier, will see mainly rain with this system. And then the low that came into Kuskokwim Bay will cross the Yukon River and up into Norton Sound on Sunday and near Nome, and then try to pull back a little westward by the day Monday and weekend. You can see that low weakening there. And then just lagging troughiness here along the Gulf Coast area. Nothing major, but still could be some pockets of lighter precipitation, light rain, light snow showers. Next couple of weather systems will be crossing in through the eastern Aleutians and back out toward the far western Aleutians here by the time we get into Monday afternoon. But overall, this weather pattern is going to stay active. We're going to see systems moving out of the North Pacific, lower Bering, or coming up out of the North Pacific into the Gulf. This is just going to continue right up on through Christmas, and there's potential a couple of these systems could definitely have more in the way of wind and heavier precipitation. Just too early right now to pinpoint an exact time frame. But looking at temperatures Sunday morning, actually a little milder along areas of the Gulf Coast, 40 degrees there at Sitka. Back here to the west, temperatures may actually start to rise a little bit late tonight into Sunday morning. Temperatures by Sunday afternoon could be up near freezing all the way up to Anchorage and on over toward Valdez. And then along areas of the Panhandle here, we're looking at mid-40s for highs. And Monday morning, there's going to be additional precipitation along the Gulf with this front that moves in. So some heavier precipitation, heavier snow in the coastal mountains, rains along the immediate coast here as we go through Sunday into early Monday. And then by the time we get into Monday afternoon, temperatures maybe not quite as warm as they were, but still mid-30s to near 40s central southern Panhandle. And areas here up along south central will cool back down briefly near freezing Sunday, back down into the lower 20s, Anchorage Bowl up toward Talkeetna. Coldest temperatures, at least Sunday morning in the state, will be up along areas of the Brooks Range, North Slope, and in through the Yukon flats. Some areas could be in the 20, 25 below range. Even temperatures down near zero over toward the Bering Strait at Wales as well as at Fairbanks, but not as cold as it has been. And daytime highs, you're going to notice temperatures creeping upward here in the Yukon Valley as a little bit warmer air comes up from the south. Temperatures, though, 14 there at Fairbanks. Single digits still near or below zero there along the Arctic coast. Low temperatures Monday morning, not quite as cold as what they were here over the past week. And then during the afternoon hours on Monday, temperatures single digits above or below zero in the Yukon Flats, North Slope, and along the Arctic coast. Generally in the teens along Norton Sound. And looking at the southwest coast, temperatures tonight still down around, say, 12 to 15 degrees and fairly steady. Along the Alaska Peninsula, just below freezing into the eastern Aleutians. Sunday afternoon highs above freezing there at Kodiak City, near freezing once you get south and above freezing south of King Salmon all the way down along the length of the Aleutians with highs generally 35 to 40 degrees. And then Monday morning lows, some single digits here across the southwest interior, so a bit colder. And then look for high temperatures back up into the teens. Lower 20s along the coastline. And again, temperatures as you string out along the Alaska Peninsula, especially central eastern Aleutians from Dutch Harbor out through Adak, temperatures should at least be in the lower 40s. And here is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook that is now in through the Christmas holiday, December 22nd through the 26th. Temperatures are expected to average above normal over the eastern mainland along the Alcan border, and especially down through the northern part of the Panhandle could average near a bit above, almost much above, but definitely notably above normal. Cooler than normal temperatures along the west coast. So this implies low pressure circulation like this, which means systems coming into the Gulf will bring in milder air and moisture on up into the far eastern mainland and the Panhandle, whereas colder northeast, north winds coming down along the west coast will keep colder temperatures going there. And precipitation with that kind of setup would imply, and so I have a feeling as we get near Christmas, there could be a more notable low in the Gulf that could bring some heavier precipitation to areas of south central and along the Gulf into the Panhandle. We'll have to keep an eye on that because that's still over a week away. But nevertheless, the best chance of above normal precipitation will extend south of the Alaska Range to Anchorage, east to McCarthy, through Yakutat, northern half of the Panhandle, including Juneau. So as we head toward Christmas, we'll have to keep an eye on the potential for active weather in this portion of the state.